In this video, I'll be delving into the covert world of preparing and storing food for an undefined future emergency scenario. But the problem is I don't know how. What methods do I use? What equipment do I need? What supplies should I buy? But the big question is, how do I store food safely so that I can eat it at a later date when needed? So I decided to investigate and learn the ins and outs of food preparation as much as I can. Now, there are hundreds of scenarios of what could happen in the future. But whatever happens, I know this. 9 out of 10 doctors recommend the consumption of food as a vital part of sustaining the human body. There are 2 people that I know and trust that are from a time when putting up food was considered normal. And they've been doing it since Elvis belted out, "You ain't nothing but a hound dog." So I made the call. So they agreed to meet with me on 3 conditions. Number 1, I must not reveal their identity. Number 2, I must make sure I'm not followed. And number 3, I must share this information with anyone who will listen. Of course, the internet is buzzing with all kinds of information, and there's a lot to learn. It's actually overwhelming, and so that's why I really need the advice of my contacts. The location was cloaked with anonymity. I could feel it as I reached for the doorknob. My mom was willing to let me film her at the meeting, but my aunt would only let me record her voice. But the goal is to, as inexpensive as we can, and get as many food packets put away as we can. Yeah. Enough to provide for our family for 6 months. Yeah. You know, would really be cool.
Yeah. A year would be better.
A year would be better. We talked about the different methods of preserving and storing food, and they agreed to teach me what they knew. And then they agreed to help me and show me the ropes. So then we talked about the pros and cons of the various forms and methods of long-term food storage. And there seems to be a whole lot of options, and so this is what I learned. Number 1, there are emergency rations that you can purchase. Number 2, freeze-dried meals for camping and hiking that are ready to eat by just adding water. Number 3, canning food in jars. Number 4, freeze-dried food in bulk cans. Number 5, dehydrating your own food. And number 6, packing and sealing foods from the store like beans, noodles, and rice. Out of all those options and the different methods available, the question is, what's going to work best for me? Canning in jars is a proven long-term method, but it's a long process to can the food that way, and I don't have room to store a whole bunch of canning jars. We decided we're going to go with the vacuum sealing method using clear bags and Mylar bags. We can store more vacuum sealed bags in a bin in the closet than we can a bunch of jars. Now that we've decided on the methods, let's take a look at what equipment we're going to need. Number 1, a vacuum sealer with clear bags and some Mylar bags. Number 2, a food dehydrator. Number 3, measuring cups and spoons. And number 4, a few tables to prepare the food on. Now let's take a look at the food supplies we're going to need. We're going to need, number 1, freeze-dried food in cans. Number 2, dehydrated foods that we make ourselves and buy. Number 3, store-bought foods that lend themselves already to long-term storage. And number 4, packets of salt, pepper, condiments, honey, and other things that we can purchase in bulk. Now that we've decided on the methods we're going to use, the equipment we need to buy, and the types of foods we need to purchase for long-term storage, our next step is going to be gathering recipes together, doing some taste tests, and deciding which one is going to be our first test run in packaging food. Finally, we had a solid plan for packing and storing away food for an emergency situation. It's really important to not let fear be our motivator for preparing ahead for the future. It's actually wisdom to prepare for whatever circumstances or situation may come up in the future, be it storms, earthquakes, or even a recession. Ultimately, I think having faith in God as our provider and trusting Him to take care of us is really, really important.